Okay, fellas, through the semi-finals again, well done, but we did just squeak through there against Barcelona. It certainly wasn't our best performance. We really need to step things up here against Real Madrid. They are quite a bit better than Barcelona based on what I've seen of the league of the season, okay? So I need a big step up here, boys. We need to be on our game. We owe these guys. They knocked us out in the semi-final 3 years ago. Let's get some revenge and make our third straight final. Come on.
Looking for trouble and fights, but you found me. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I'm glad you're someone to rely on, someone to rely on. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I could be someone to rely on, someone to rely on, someone to rely on.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 166 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up in today's episode is the semi-final of the Champions League for 2035, and we take on Real Madrid in this one. Jurgen Klopp's Real Madrid. On the other side of the draw, it is Chelsea versus Manchester United, and also by the time this episode does finish, we might get our replacement for Cailin Racasan over the line and to the club as well. So stick to the end if you want to see who that player is. Hopefully you'll agree by the time we do finish things up in the semi-final. But if you are looking forward to this episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But today we take on Real Madrid. We've played no competitive games at all since the quarterfinals against Barcelona in yesterday's episode. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. We're going to have a look at Real Madrid and then pretty much get straight into things for this one. Real Madrid, we took them on 3 years ago. They beat us in both legs in the semi-finals of the 2032 Champions League. They've still got Jurgen Klopp in charge, and their team does look pretty similar. Most of the key players are still there. They've got the likes of Mbappe, Makoko, Camavinga, as well as Nianzou in there. It's a very strong Real Madrid team, and a Real Madrid team who at the moment are doing quite a number on Barcelona. Once we actually get to the Liga table, you can see they are 9 points clear of them with only 5 games left in that season. So quite considerably better than Barcelona based on what you can see there on the La Liga table. So we do need to step things up off the back of just squeaking through over Barcelona in yesterday's episode. In terms of us going into this one, we've got one minor injury for the first leg anyway. That is that Pedro Lemos has a bruised head. He won't be able to take his place on the bench for this first leg, but he should be back for the second leg. But Ian Carlo can cover right back in his place. We have actually made a few other changes to our starting lineup though for this game, but we'll cover those off shortly. When we do run through the team sheets pre-game, we'll come back shortly for the first leg at our home ground this time as we take on Jurgen Klopp's Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-finals. And here are the team sheets for this first leg. We have listened to our Ask Man at work for the Lujo in the Streamer Showdown a while back, so we're doing the same here. We've changed our midfield, Basicki, Guy, and Doumbia in the midfield. It did work for us against Barcelona in the group stage, as you can see Real Madrid on screen there, so we have switched to that. That means that Bruno Costa does drop to the bench in place of Alain Basicki, but apart from that, we are unchanged, and hopefully that gives us the edge that we were just lacking yesterday against Barcelona. And we have to wait until just shy of the half-hour mark for our first highlight. In this one, a very quiet game so far. Basicki on a yellow card gets his head on the end of that corner, but a good save there from the Madrid goalkeeper. And they do start to get on the counter-attack pretty quickly there after the goalkeeper does roll it out nice and sharply. But Musiala there with a loose pass, and we do get possession back and try and make our way back into the Real Madrid half. Nice run here from Lassana Doumbia up for Adam Saki. Buries that, albeit with a lot of help off the woodwork. And then the lone highlight so far of the first half, Lassana Doumbia, as a Musiala might be coming up trumps because he slots through Adam Saki. As I said, gets a lot of help there from the woodwork, but after 27 minutes, that will make it Völsungur 1, Real Madrid 0. As I said, quite a bit of help there from the woodwork, but we don't mind. It's 1-0 here with about 20 minutes left in the first half. And it is half time here in this first leg at my arena. We take a 1-0 lead thanks to that big chance that Saki did put away, albeit, as I said, with a lot of help there from the woodwork. Off the back of that, we certainly got on top of Real Madrid, but on the whole, it's been a pretty quiet first half. Hopefully, we get a few more highlights in the second half, and all of them are in our favour, but that's certainly encouraging signs, not playing at our best, and we do take a 1-0 lead into the shed. A few players on yellow cards there, Denelli and Basicki, but the way we're going, I think we'll leave them out there for now and keep this up 1-0 as we kick off the second half of the first leg. And all the way up now to the 70-minute mark, no highlights so far in the second half, so a very quiet game here, but Basaroge has gone down to a red heart. Bruno Costa can come on for him. Doumbia can switch back to the box-to-box role that he is used to playing, so it's our midfield that we have used, except Basicki in there for Basaroge for these last 20 minutes. Still holding a 1-0 lead, albeit right off the back of that, a few more players have gone down to red hearts. One of those is Mizkic. He's only going okay. We'll bring Jonata on for him as well. So that's 2 of our subs used with 18 minutes left and still with a 1-0 lead. And only a few more minutes off the back of those first couple of substitutions. We're going to make our last one. Nicola Zimmerman now down to a red heart, only on a 6.5. Aga Tigare, who got some crucial goals yesterday against Barcelona, he can come on for him for these last 12 minutes. And we do finally have a highlight here. We try and pick out Jonata from that throw, but they head that back out to Luis Herrera. Can we get one more goal? That would be absolutely golden. A game of few highlights and give us a nice cushion going to the Bernabeu for the second leg. Of course, last time Real Madrid did an absolute number on us in that game at the Bernabeu, so we might need a big lead going into that one, and 2-0 might just be enough for us to be able to relax just a little bit. Nice ball there from Jonata for Aga Tigare. Just takes a good touch there around the goalkeeper, puts that away in the back of the net, and that makes it 2-0 with 10 minutes left of this first leg. As I said, very few highlights, but we do now go 2-0 up, and that could be a very useful cushion goal going to the Bernabeu for that second leg. Good pass there from Jonata, links up with his other mate off the bench in Aga Tigare, and that is a big goal. Puts us 2-0 up with 10 minutes left in this first leg. And we're about to enter injury time in this one. We haven't even bothered time wasting today because that did not work yesterday against Barcelona late, but it's been a game of very few highlights, only 2 of them, but thankfully they both resulted in goals to us in the first half there through Adam Saki, and with about 10 minutes to go through Aga Tigare off the bench, he is giving us some great impact in these latter stages of the Champions League this season, and that means that we will take a 2-0 lead to the Bernabeu for the second leg. Very interesting to see that Real Madrid actually took off Kylian Mbappe at half time today, and the replacement didn't exactly do a great job either. So Real Madrid not performing well there. Thankfully, we make the most of it, and that means we are going to be taking a 2-0 lead into the second leg. No injury concerns coming out of that game as far as I can tell. So as long as that does stay the same, we'll come back shortly and get stuck straight into that second leg from the Bernabeu with that 2-0 lead. And here are the team sheets for the second leg. Real Madrid looking quite similar to the first leg, although it does look like they've made a few changes there to their starting 11, but not too many. Still a pretty good looking team there for Jurgen Klopp. We are sticking with exactly what worked in that first leg back at my arena. A nice 2-goal cushion going into this one. Hopefully we can at the very least hold on to that and make our 3rd straight Champions League final. And only 2 minutes into this one, it is a throw-in here for Real Madrid, albeit inside their own half. They look to play out from the back here and get on the front foot nice and early after we were a little bit more dominant there in that first leg. Real Madrid not even getting a single shot on target in that one. But Camavinga here is on the ball. This time he gets a shot on target, but Carl Wallen is there to tip that over the bar. So Real Madrid do get on the front foot early here at the Bernabeu. Mbappe puts this one into the mix, but Basaroge will head that clear. We'll see if anything else comes off the back of that corner, but at the moment Real Madrid just knocking the ball outside the box. That does end that highlight, but not too long off the back of that one. It is a corner for Real Madrid. Mbappe puts that in. The Real Madrid player does head that just wide, but Real Madrid on top of us early, but we are still 2-0 up on aggregate early on here in the second leg. And up to the 9-minute mark now, it's another free kick here for Real Madrid. Nianzou gets his head on the end of that. We absolutely scramble that clear. We'll try and praise the boys here to try and stop some of this momentum, but they do still show us another corner here. They put this into the mixer. It's a shot there from Camavinga. That gets deflected. We'll get Basaroge here to ease off tackles because he's now picked up an early yellow card, and see if that also helps stop this early flow of highlights. That time it does, and we still hold on to our 2-0 lead, about to hit the 15-minute mark of the second leg. And just past that 15-minute mark of the second leg, it is a goal kick here to Real Madrid, so he must have got down the other end for the first time, but at the moment Real Madrid well and truly on top of us here. Hopefully we can stop the flow, and indeed a good interception there from Radenko Krolo means that we can finally get on the front foot here, and Mizkic makes his way just on the edge of the box, but it's a good slide tackle there on Musiala. If he didn't win the ball there, he might have been in quite a bit of trouble, but he did, and Real Madrid get a chance here on the counter-attack. Makoko makes his way down the right wing. Good interception there, though, from Herrera and Basaroge, tries to get us here on the front foot, but that's a bit of a poor pass there. Zimmerman trying to link up with Saki, and now Real Madrid yet again get a chance on the counter-attack. Nice ball over there for Makoko. He takes a touch there, much like Agatigere did in the first leg. Gets that around Carl Wallen, puts that away. We're waiting on a VAR check, but I'm pretty sure that looked like he was well and truly onside. And indeed, that is the case. And after some sustained pressure, Real Madrid do get a goal back here early in the second leg. That will make it 2-1 on aggregate. But to be fair, they deserve that based on the early play in this one. And it's game on here 17 minutes into the second leg. And 10 minutes off the back of that opening goal in the second leg to Real Madrid. We do have the ball, albeit having to play out from the back here. Hopefully we can do something this time and try and get that cushion back. That would be very nice indeed. As Adam Saki gets on the front foot, it's an absolute calamity there between two Real Madrid defenders. Adam Saki makes the most of it, picks up his 10th goal of this season. That is a bit of a gift there, truth be told. I think Saki should have been stopped, but the two Real Madrid players there got in the way of each other. It was nice ball forward there to Saki, but they just trip over each other. The ball falls very kindly to the Moroccan striker. He tucks that away, and just like that, and really our first attack of the second half, we grab an equaliser on the day and extend our lead to 3-1 on aggregate with 15 minutes left in the first half of the second leg. And that is half-time in the second leg. It is 1-1 despite the fact that Real Madrid completely played us off the park at the moment in this one. Real Madrid are getting FM, but hopefully that continues because we have a 2-goal cushion going into the last 45 minutes of this one, albeit we are going to make some changes here at half-time because despite the scoreline, we're certainly not playing nearly as well as we are capable of. Luis Herrera only on a 6.3, so Bokek can come on for him, and also Nicholas Zimmerman on a 6.4. Agatigere in really good form at the moment. He can come on for Zim for the second half, as I said, with a 2-goal lead, and we're 45 minutes away from our third straight Champions League final. And we have to go all the way forward to the 73-minute mark for the first highlight of the second half. It is a corner in our favour. Real Madrid still dominating this game, but we have the highlight to start things off in the second half. Agatigere, far post, will put that away off the ball from Doumbia, and that is a 3-goal cushion. And with only 16 minutes left, surely that's enough of a buffer for us to make yet another Champions League final, despite the fact that Real Madrid completely outplaying us here in the second leg, but we have been very clinical with our chances. Agatigere pops up with yet another goal. Maybe we need to start him come the final, but off the back of that, we are going to make a change. Basaroge down to a red heart. Bruno Costa will come on for him for these last 16 minutes, but that is a big goal. We are now 3-up with only 16 minutes left of the second leg. And we are about to enter injury time in the second leg. There haven't been many highlights in either of the legs, but we don't mind. We have been very clinical with our chances. Real Madrid not really being very clinical with theirs, despite all that domination there in that second leg. We somehow end up picking up a win away from home, and that backs up our 2-0 win in the first leg. And in the end, we actually go through quite comfortably 4-1 on aggregate. So very good work there from our arse man, suggesting that we do put that midfield back in there of Basicki, Doumbia and Basaroge like we did when Cailin Racasan was injured in the later part of the group stages, and it has paid off there a lot better than we were yesterday against Barcelona, despite those lack of highlights. Very clinical in front of goal. Agatigere with 2 goals off the bench as well. As I said, we might need to give some consideration to starting him in the final in tomorrow's episode, but we make our way through to our third straight Champions League final off the back, as I said, of, in the end, quite a convincing win on aggregate by a scoreline of 4-1. We'll come back shortly, see who we are playing in the Champions League final, and also unveil a new signing here at Völsungur. And we are back in the inbox off the back of that semi-final. As I said, not many highlights across those two legs, but thankfully we were quite efficient in front of goal, and Real Madrid, especially in that second leg, were not, despite the fact that they really were on top of us for most of that leg, especially those first 15 minutes. But thankfully, we were quite solid there defensively and scored 4 goals and go through in the end, as I said, a little bit comfortably by a scoreline of 4-1, and that does mean we are going to the Millennium Stadium in Wales for the Champions League final in tomorrow's episode, and our opposition is going to be none other than Manchester United, the team who beat us in the final last season. They got past Chelsea in the other semi-final by a scoreline of 5-2. That was off the back of a 3-0 win in the second leg at Old Trafford after it was locked up at 2-2 after the first leg. So it's a rematch from last year's final, and hopefully we can get some revenge on Man United after getting some revenge on Real Madrid for a few seasons ago. But it's a rematch from last season's Champions League final tomorrow, and hopefully we can finally win our first European trophy at the third straight time of asking in the Champions League, and in our fifth European final overall, of course, after we also lost to English teams in the Europa League a few seasons ago against Liverpool, and now quite a while ago in the Conference League final against Brighton and Hove Albion. But we're taking on Manchester United in the Champions League final tomorrow. A quick look at those guys before we unveil our big new signing here at Völsungur. They are doing a really good job in the Premier League this season. They've looked quite dangerous in the knockouts of the Champions League as well. First in the Premier League, their team looking fairly similar to what it did when we took them on in the final last season, albeit a few players like Bruno Fernandes have now retired in games, so it might be a slightly weaker team than we took on last season, but hopefully that means that we have a little bit more of a show of beating them, especially because last season they were due to win the Champions League. If we go and have a look at the winners list, they do tend to always win it the year after Manchester City win it, and this time that is not the case. So hopefully there's no dodgy penalty shootout nonsense going on, and we can pick up our first Champions League title. And we will also have a quick look at the Premier League table, so I can show you guys exactly what I mean by how they have been quite good so far. They are already champions, 14 points clear of both Chelsea and Liverpool with 3 games left in the season. So Man United are going to be nicely fresh, and you'd imagine, going into that Champions League final, seeing as they have already wrapped up the domestic title. But that's what we've got to look forward to in tomorrow's episode. Yet another Champions League final, albeit it's against the team which beat us last season in a penalty shootout, which went horribly wrong for us in Manchester United. But before we do wrap things up for today's episode, a bit of a transfer update, including a player who we have signed to replace Cailin Racasan. And this is our new star man. This is Bienvenu Bayer. We signed him off of Lyon in France for a fee of £64 million. We did wait a little while to get him into the club. That is because if we signed him back in January, when we did sell Cailin Racasan, he would have cost us about an extra 30 or 40 million pounds. We have blown most of our transfer budget on this guy. A big upgrade in the Mazzala role compared to what we did have there in Bruno Costa before the start of today's episode. Obviously now things changed a little bit with that midfield of Basicki, Gay and Doumbia doing a very good job for us there against Real Madrid, but this guy should be our starting Mazzala come the start of the new European season. Not quite as good as Cailin Racasan. That's probably because of the fact that his flair isn't as good, but apart from that, he is a very, very well-rounded midfielder, only 22 years old, out of France, only at 3-star current ability, but his attributes do look a little bit better than that and has 4.5-star potential. I'm hoping he can form a very good partnership with his fellow Frenchman in Lassana Doumbia in that midfield. And most of our transfer budget has been blown to get him here. We spent £64 million to get him here to Völsungur from Lyon. Apart from that, we have also sold a few more players. One of our youngsters in Bjarnason, he has gone to Phil Kerr, only had limited potential, so we let him go for a fee of £59,000. And we've also sold Abdoulaye Kore, one of our backup centre-backs. He was foreign. His potential had dropped, so he has gone to Saudi Arabia, one of the clubs over there, for a fee of £7 million. That does mean we still have a little bit left in our transfer budget to potentially bring in another centre-back for the next European season as well. Just give us a little more depth in that position, because at the moment, in behind Denali and Ramadan, we do just have the homegrown player in Jakubov, as well as Waswa. We could potentially use another player who can do a good job at centre-back, albeit we do still have Basaro Gay, who could slot back there and accommodate some of those newer players in our midfield if we do need to give them some game time. So that's the transfer business that we have been up to. A big signing there in Bienvenu Bayer, and he will get involved come the start of the next European season early on next week. But that will do it for today's episode. A very good win there in both leagues against Real Madrid, and that means that we get a chance to get revenge on Manchester United for last year's final in this year's final in tomorrow's episode. But if you did enjoy today's one, making our way through to yet another Champions League final, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow do a little bit of a domestic recap because the domestic season does start not too long off the back of that second leg of the Champions League semi-final taking on Filkia and HK in our first 2 games. That is a little bit of a tough start, but off the back of that, hopefully we can start resting some of our key players in those next 2 games before we take on Manchester United at the start of June. And before we do crack into that final, we'll also do our European roundup and recap who has won the top 5 leagues. Obviously, you already know that Man United have picked up the Premier League, but we'll also check in on how things have finished up in the other 4 top 5 European leagues, as well as in the final of the Conference League and the Europa League as well. But the big focus tomorrow, trying to win our first European title, our first Champions League at the 3rd time of asking, against Manchester United. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.